Have you ever noticed that sometimes when you're in a playful mood, when it feels like you're not working hard, you actually do your best work and you, in a playful state, outperform yourself at times when you're kind of doing the hard work, disciplined approach? This is something that I've noticed many times in my own life and that we've also seen on the Icario team. But the problem is it's quite difficult to do that. Like, you can't just do it on command, right? I can't tell the guys, okay guys, time to be playful now. And I was recently reading one of Steven Kotler's books, which made me think we're really onto something here, because Steven Kotler talks about his experience of being a journalist following extreme sport athletes around. And one of the things he talks about is how these guys made amazing progress and kept breaking record after record. But their approach wasn't really like the super disciplined, get up at 5 a.m. and train all day type approach. Their approach was they were playing, they were having fun, and they were kind of just hanging out.
Every domain you find ultimate human performance has the exact same signature. It is a state of consciousness known to researchers as flow. Now, you may know flow by other names, right? You may call it runner's high or being in the zone. If you happen to play basketball, you might call it being unconscious. If you're a beatnik jazz musician, you're being in the pocket. If you do stand-up comedy, you're in the forever box.
This is a really strong example of this playful flow state unlocking extremely high performance. So on the Icario team, we asked ourselves, can we examine this? And how can we try to construct a situation where we tap into a more playful and more flowing state? We came up with an experiment to test this idea, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. But first, I think we need to address two myths that are very common in our culture about hard work and high performance. And the first myth is basically what I would say the David Goggins approach, right? Where the idea is, in order to be a high performer, in order to do well, what you need is just extreme discipline and sacrifice. The only way to be a high performer is essentially to suffer, and he who suffers most performs the highest. This is a myth, and I think we can observe that in our own lives, and I think it's a myth that's being used against us. This is a great way to force masses of people to wear a gray suit and show up to do work they hate in grim discipline every day, even though they don't want to. But really, I do not think that this is the way to do well or to be at your best for most types of work and in most situations. The second myth is essentially the polar opposite. It says that it's all about finding your passion. Like, once you find the thing that you're truly passionate about, the thing that you're truly meant to do, then everything is going to be easy. As the saying goes, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. This too is unrealistic. I say this as someone who, I'm lucky to say, for almost 10 years now, for more than 10 years even, I've generally been working on my own businesses, and I've always been working on projects and businesses that I wanted to work on. I've always been doing things that I want to do and that I'm generally excited about and passionate about. But that doesn't mean it's always just fun and games. That doesn't mean I'm always motivated to do the work. I think assuming that once you find your passion, everything is easy and everything comes easy is kind of like assuming that once you found the right relationship, the right partner, you will never have any kind of conflict anymore. And so if you're in a relationship, like the first time any kind of fight comes up, the first time you have a disagreement, you immediately break up. It's not really a recipe for success. So when we're talking about working in a more playful and more flowing state, we're not talking about either of those things. We're not talking about finding a way to trick ourselves or finding a way to trick the team to just work harder, expend themselves harder, like wring more work out of people. It's not about that. But we're also not talking about like trying to just avoid anything that feels like work or anything that's hard. We're trying to be high performers. We're trying to do good work, but we're trying to do so in the most ideal state possible. So much for the theory, but how do we put this into practice? So here's the experiment we came up with on the team. We decided that we would do a 5-day work sprint. So that's the first element. We wanted to set a goal that seems like a real stretch, that seems like almost too much to squeeze into 5 days, and then decide we give ourselves 5 days to do all of this work in a sprint.
We wanted to do a sales video for the coaching offer we recently put out. We wanted to finish a new course on introspective writing, so we did that as well. We wanted to come up with new branding for Acario and like a new overall marketing message. And we wanted to do some YouTube videos about how to not procrastinate.
The second element was that we would meet up every morning in the local park, and we would start our day with yoga, with breath work, and with an exercise session. So every day, the first thing we did was we spent the first 90 minutes to 2 hours outside doing physical activities. We did this in the morning to get a good start into the day, and because of all the benefits that physical activity and movement have for cognitive performance and productivity, but also because it set the tone. Right away, because we're starting our day like this, it kind of sets the tone to say, this is different. This is not a usual week. What we're doing here is special. And the third element was a community element. So as much as possible, we were working on the same thing as a group, also in the same room, in the same location, so that there was this sense of togetherness. Plus, every day we'd have a team lunch where one of us would cook for everyone. And so we'd sit around, share food, and have discussions. So that creates a community element. These are the three things that we implemented in order to have a work situation that would kick us out of that normal mode that feels like you're just showing up for another day at the office, and hopefully helps us switch into a better state.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we did pretty good. The introspective writing course was a bit ambitious, so I don't think we fully finished that, but for the most part, I think we managed to do everything. At times, it definitely felt like I was more productive. Like today on the last day, I definitely was, just because I had time pressure to finish things on the last day.
I would say I was more productive during this time, but not by a huge margin.
Personally, I don't feel that I was more productive, but as a team, we were definitely more productive.
As a team, we were definitely more productive than usual. We got a very large amount of work done in these 5 days. I also think that in terms of the creative process, we performed at a higher level than usual.
When we were all together and we had to do things like brainstorm for the product or brainstorm for the new messaging or whatever, it was a lot easier when we were all together.
We had several discussions and brainstorming sessions where I was like, yes, this is special.
But then there was also times where I don't think I was as productive as usual just because I was outside of my normal work desk.
Starting the day outdoors, doing exercise and kind of breathing the fresh morning air, that was, I think, my favorite part. And it really makes the day feel better and more special to start it like that. And with a group of people, that was really good.
I loved sparring in the morning. That was kick-ass. Something within an hour and a half of being awake, you're trading punches with people.
I think one of my highlights was getting punched in the face.
It's like, it's instant flow state.
I had more fun purely because of the social aspect of it. It was nice to do the exercise with other people, nice to do the soma breathing with other people again. Also, just sharing lunch together every day. That it's not all about work in that day. There are other things to focus on, and that was quite cool.
Waking up early. It's gonna sound like I'm complaining here, but it's like losing an extra hour of sleep over a couple days, it catches up with you.
Waking up early is something I can do it, but I pay the price for it.
On either the second day or the third day, I was just extremely tired, and I don't think I was very fun to be around, to be honest.
By the end of the challenge, it actually started to feel a little bit better.
Here's my conclusion of this experiment. Once again, I realized that I really prefer to work in sprints, and I think I'm not alone in that. Having a clearly defined short-term goal that you can sprint towards, even that alone can put you in a different and better state of being and working. And the other elements definitely added to the experience. Now, just to be clear, it's not like we were, laughing and high-fiving and chest bumping each other all day long because we're in such an amazing state because of this experiment. But let's be honest, that would be a bit much to expect. So it's not like every day felt totally different, but I did notice that there were more moments where we did get into what felt like a flow state. And we had some brainstorming sessions, some discussions where I really felt like, yes, we're tapping into something here that feels really valuable and that feels like playful, but also highly creative and useful, that usually doesn't happen very often. And here in the span of only 5 days, this happened several times. I would say that the 3 elements that we tried out in this experiment are certainly not the final picture. This isn't the perfect recipe for how to work in a more playful and flowing state, but I think we're definitely on the right path, and this is something I want to continue exploring. So now it's up to you. The good thing about this is it's really simple, right? There's only 3 elements that you can try out in your own work, or if you work with a group of people, probably works even better. So you can try this out for yourself and see if you experience similar benefits. And if you have other ideas for what you could experiment with, or your own stories of how you've managed to tap into this special, flowing, playful state, then let us know by leaving a comment below. Hey, want to get in on the action? We host challenges on a regular basis with other members of our community that include everything from gratitude to productivity to writing exercises and much, much more. To learn more, head over to icario.com and go to the product section to see what you can enroll in. See you on the inside.